All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video. Kyle Shanahan spoke on Monday after the Niners lost to the Cardinals and before the Niners embark on a short week to take on the Seattle Seahawks Thursday night in Seattle. So it's a gotta-have-it week for the Niners and a quick turnaround. All right, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. Pig and a Pickle. Go say hi to Damon and Mary. Get some brisket chili. Tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. All right, let's get into it. Kyle Shanahan spoke to the press early this morning. He starts like he always starts with the injuries. Jake Moody's got a high ankle sprain, and the Niners are working out 4 kickers this afternoon to see who's going to kick for them Thursday night in Seattle. High ankle sprain means that Mooney's going to miss time, or Jake Moody's going to miss time. He's going to probably miss this game. My guess is maybe another game, maybe 3 games. We'll see, but high ankle sprains and, last typically anything from 3 to 6 weeks, maybe even longer. And I think it's his plant leg, so we'll see where it goes. Talanoa Hufanga has a wrist injury, and his status for this week is unknown. Christian McCaffrey, of course, continues to push forward with his practice. He'll practice this week and try to keep ramping himself open up towards playing hopefully sooner rather than later. Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles has a calf injury. He remains out. Chris Conley's got an oblique injury. He remains out. And Ricky Pearsall is not going to have his practice window open this week. And Kyle was asked about, hey, why is Ricky's practice window not opening this week? And they're like, well, we're not going to practice this week. So, we want to, they don't want to open his window and then evaluate him and then not have a practice, not have the ability to evaluate him and lose 1 week of flexibility. So they'll probably open it soon. Now, the 49ers are struggling in the red zone mightily, and a guy like Ricky Pearsall might be exactly what the doctor ordered in the red zone. Why? Because he can get separation at will, and he seems like he's very much on the same page with the quarterback. They were connecting in minicamp. I expect they will connect in the regular season. And who knows? Maybe Ricky's the exact answer that is required for the 49ers to start turning, red zone appearances into actual touchdowns. It's great to get into the red zone. Last year, they were #1 in the red zone as far as touchdown percentage at 67%. This year, you take away McCaffrey, who scored 18 of his 21 touchdowns in the red zone, and they're not as good. Simple as that. And now they're, more like mid-pack, roughly with a 50% touchdown percentage in the red zone. So that's going to have to improve if they want to get where they want to go, which is win a championship. And the Niners have a lot of problems, but that's clearly one of them. As I said, the Niners are working at 4 kickers today. I'm sure we'll hear something in the next 24 hours on which kicker won this competition that's being had in Santa Clara and who will be the kicker for them on Thursday night in Seattle. It is a real quick turnaround, and Nick Bosa said that, maybe a quick turnaround is a blessing for the 49ers. The bottom line is the Niners need to lick their wounds, and they need to get ready to play a good game in Seattle. Seattle just gave up a ton of rushing yards to Tyrone Tracy, and it might be a great get-right game for the 49ers if they can run Jordan Mason all day long against the Seahawks up there on Thursday night. One of the things that came through when I rewatched the game is that just Brock Purdy's got to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker at times under the blitz. I know, Brock has held the ball. He's, likes to let his receivers free themselves open down the field. He likes to give those deep routes a chance to succeed, and the only way to do that is to hold on to the football. But there were a couple times where he patted the football instead of getting rid of it, and he probably should have just gotten rid of it. And, it's a hard thing to learn, that dial. And I've talked to him about this in the past. In some ways, I feel like his dial is set perfectly in that his risk-reward is on point. He rarely takes risks that he shouldn't, and usually has this incredible, clearance of, a clarity of thought, if you will, when he's going through his progressions. He typically makes good decisions, but there were examples in this last game where, man, he should have gotten rid of the ball a little bit quicker on that last ball that was where he got blitzed, he got hit, and the ball popped into the air, and Kazir White picked it off, and that was essentially the game right there. He's just got to get rid of the ball. When he sees they're sending one more rusher than you have a blocker, you're going to take a hit. So you want to hold the ball as much as you can to, give your guys a chance to open up downfield, but at the same time, you can't take that sack. You got to throw the ball. The ball's got to come out, and he should have gotten rid of it instead of taking the sack in that situation. Shanahan talked about the struggles in this game. More than anything, it's just the fact that they had 4 total possessions in the second half, and they got nothing. They got 3 turnovers. They really had 4 turnovers. It was 4 turnovers on 4 second-half possessions. It went interception, fumble, interception, turnover on downs, fumble, interception. That's how the last 9 or 4 possessions went. So essentially, they had 4 turnovers in the second half because one of them was a turnover on downs because they were forced to go for it on 4th and 23 from the 27. That is a low percentage play, to say the least. So essentially, the 49ers between on their 4 series had 4 turnovers in the second half of the game. So, it's not that surprising that you lose. When you turn the ball over 4 times in the second half, you lose. It's kind of the way of the world. Then Kyle was asked today about Brock scrambling versus taking checkdowns and taking what the defense gives you. And Kyle just pointed out that 2nd and 14 sack was a poor decision by Purdy. But once again, I'm not here to take anything off, carry water for Brock or take anything off his back. But if you're in that mindset where your receivers are not getting open, you're dropping back to pass, and you're only seeing 50-50 balls or guys that are just blanketed and covered, and you figure out a way to hold the ball and make a few plays with your legs and loosen up that defense, when that happens, there's a chaotic nature to those types of plays. And it's just like, if you're going to trust in your quarterback to run around and find Kittle on the sidelines after he runs around for 7 or 8 seconds, then you're going to have to take the good with the bad. And unfortunately, when you run around and extend plays, there's a chance you're going to take a sack. There's a chance you're going to turn it over. There's a chance you're going to lose the game. And that's part of the downside. So, I understand why Brock was taking extra chances in this game, but he's just got to be a little bit more circumspect with his decision-making, because you got possession of the ball is everything in the NFL. You got to possess the ball. You turn it over, it's the fastest way to write your ticket to a loss. Let's hear from Nick Bosa. Kev found this quote from Bosa in the postgame. Here's Bosa saying that the Niners, in his mind, defensively, did not adjust to the zone read run game that Arizona threw at them. And he kind of pointed the finger a little bit at Sorensen. Here's Bosa.
I think Connor had like 12, 14 yards before their last 2 drives, and he had 72. Were they doing anything differently with him?
They were giving us a different look on the zone read, and I think in all of our losses, the preparation we've had has been great, but teams are playing us different and doing things differently, and we need to adjust a little better. Just showing different looks and kind of than what we were looking at on tape. So just got to adjust and get them down.
So, it just sounds like, according to Nick Bosa, Arizona threw some zone scheme run game at them, and that he didn't feel like the Niners defense made the proper adjustments or didn't make them in the proper amount of time. And it really sounds like he's being critical of the game planner, which in this case is Nick Sorensen / Brandon Staley. We'll ask Nick more about this, I'm sure, this week. But I really wonder what exactly he's getting at here with these comments. There's no question there's a lot of frustration. Tyler took the zone read handoff and ran 50 yards for a touchdown, so maybe he had that on the mind. But the Niners just had to do a better job at rushing Murray and making Murray feel their pressure, and he just never felt their pressure. He wasn't, he wasn't hit hardly at all. He wasn't sacked hardly at all. It was a long day and it was a hot day, but the Niners really didn't do enough up front. Speaking on that front, Yetur Gross-Matos, Shanahan said today there's a very good chance that Gross-Matos may have to miss 4 to 8 weeks with the knee injury. So we may see him again this year, but it could be very late in the year. And Kyle was asked about, hey, you guys have started 3-5 in the 2021 season. Does it help you deal with a little bit of a slow start? And he kind of begged off the question, but that's the reality. Is the Niners started 2021 3-5, and they found a way to bounce back. If they beat Seattle this week, they'll be in first place in the division, and the sky's not falling when you're in first place. But at the same time, the 49ers are challenged, and they have real personnel issues that they have to deal with. They're not getting enough out of their defensive line. Trying to go from Dre Greenlaw to Devondre Campbell has just been a disaster. So many of their young DBs are yet to come of age, or it's just been a very inconsistent improvement curve. And then offensively, they only scored 16 at home against a defense that the week prior gave up 42. So, there really is no phase of the game where the Niners are truly excelling, but they're struggling bad on special teams. They're struggling really bad on defense, and they're not doing enough on offense to compensate for their struggles in the other two phases of the game. So there you go. There's your breakdown. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to Mancini's Sleep World for being a sponsor of this video. Mancini's offers a 120-night guarantee with a range of brands and price points. With Mancini's, you get free next-day delivery. I'm loving my Mancini's bed. All you got to do is click the link below or go to sleepworld.com to find a bed that works for you. Whether shopping online or visiting in store, use the code KRUG10 and you'll get 10% off. That's right, KRUG10, K-R-U-E-G 10. And you'll get 10% off in store or online at sleepworld.com. Thanks to Mancini's for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Thanks to all of you guys. Go Niners. Big, quick turnaround. Hopefully they get one Thursday night against the Seahawks. It's rough to critique them, but it has to be done. Hope you enjoyed the video. Go Niners.